Kia ora Markie here with another retroactive jealousy video. So we've had a few on the trot just lately, which is good. So they come when the mojo is there. So this is all thanks to one of our excellent therapists, Dawn, who put me in touch with this. She suggested I had a watch of an episode of Black Mirror, or Black Mirror as our American friends would probably call it, which is an excellent TV series on Netflix. I'd never watched it before, but I watched this episode that Dawn recommended, and on the basis of that I'm happy to say it's excellent. And you haven't watched the others. The others might all be terrible, mightn't they? So maybe I didn't ought to speak too soon, but I probably will watch some more. And this was, so you can look it up, this was called The Entire History of You, and it's season 1 episode 3, so I guess quite early into the whole Black Mirror thing. And it's very much about retroactive jealousy. It's kind of complex retroactive jealousy because there's more going on, but it's very much the essence of retroactive jealousy in a sci-fi setting. I say a sci-fi setting, we're not talking kind of spaceships and aliens. We're talking slightly into the future with advanced technology, which isn't probably that much advanced from what we've got already. So, spoiler alert, if you want to watch it, have a watch of it now, and then come back and hear the rest of this, or if you think you have no intention of watching it, then please carry on with me now. If not, I'll catch you later. I hope you enjoy it. Trigger warning from the program as well is it does feature violence and a little bit of gore. And obviously it features RJ and things of a sexual nature, which could be triggering in lots of different ways, I guess. Okay, so assuming you've watched it or you don't care, I will continue. So it's a futuristic world, slightly futuristic world, pretty much looks the same as our current world. People have the ability to record everything that they see through an implant in their eyes, and they can access that and they can either see it directly through like a kind of a projector in there, or a screen in their eyes, if you like, for want of a better word, or they can watch it on a screen, so they can share it with other people. So you can only basically see your own history on there, but other people can ask you to show it to them. And I say it's slightly complicated in terms of retroactive jealousy, just in terms of the narrative, really, that there's an element of something more current going on in the story. It's not just kind of past stuff. It's all past stuff, but it's some stuff occurs within the relationship, while the current relationship was current. But it does allude. They do allude to a previous ex-partner. So basically, it's a couple. There's a guy and his partner, wife, mother of his child, is Doctor Who, Jodie Whittaker, and she invites, or they agree to invite an old friend of hers to a party. The partner doesn't like him, thinks he's a bit of a dick, to quote from the film, and asks a little bit more about this guy, and then finds out that there was some history there. And he ties this in with something that she said previously about a person that she was with that she didn't name. And he does the classic RJ thing of asking her loads and loads and loads of questions, and then kind of picking up on irregularities or discrepancies in what he's been told. And this happens with RJ because partners really don't care that much about these things. They don't think about it that much. But as RJ, as we obsess about these things, we can't imagine anyone would possibly forget details. So it's a little bit more complex in the narrative than that, because there is a reason that she's hiding things. But in all other respects, it's very much like retroactive jealousy, particularly they have absolute compulsion, the intensity of the way that he, needs to know. And in this, he actually becomes abusive, which does happen with RJ. It's interesting. One of the things I've noticed when a lot of people fill in a screening questionnaire, which lists some of the main RJ symptoms on our website, and there's a question on there as, does your partner feel judged, labelled, harassed, etc. And quite commonly people will put no, tick that box as a no. But when they get into therapy, it becomes very apparent that that's not a no, that's a yes. So often people with retroactive jealousy think that they're not causing any distress to their partner, and actually they are, which is kind of quite scary and quite interesting. So the other, so if you've got retroactive jealousy, or you're with somebody with retroactive jealousy, and you watch this, you'll recognise this. It'll make perfect sense. The stuff in the, I'm talking about broadly the behaviours in the episode. The other point that I wanted to make, and this ties in with the last video that I did, which is based on research. Actually, the last but one video, because I've got one more to come out before this one comes out. Where there was some talk. Actually, both I think relate to this. Where there was the researchers identified a pattern of people with retroactive jealousy unfavourably comparing themselves with their partner's exes, and I commented in there that that's only part of the picture, because sometimes it's not people unfavourably comparing themselves to the partner's exes. Sometimes it's they'll see their partner's exes as not good at all. So this whole thing starts with this guy in the episode hates the idea that his partner has had a thing with this particular guy, because he thinks he's a real idiot. And this falls into the whole thing of devaluing the relationship and devaluing the individual with RJ. So what happens with RJ, a big factor in RJ, is people get their sense of validation as a person from being loved, and having their partner be sexually attracted to them. And they think that if their partner was to stop, basically ultimately if their partner was to stop loving them, or to show signs maybe they didn't love them so much, or to kind of throw some hints that they didn't find them sexually attractive, or that their sexual performance wasn't good, then that makes them feel that they're no longer an okay person. And there's a really good video which I recommend to lots of people by a guy called Noel Elcreath, who's got a YouTube channel, who talks about this. And also the video on jealousy by what's his name? Not Yuri, Leo from the channel actualized.org. Both talk about how a lot of problems with jealousy, and particularly retroactive jealousy, are where we do that. We see our value in how other people see us, which is not a healthy way to judge your own value in any circumstances, even if it doesn't manifest as retroactive jealousy or another form of jealousy. So what am I trying to say here? That the process that goes on in these kinds of cases, if you see the partner as somebody that you dislike, the ex-partner is somebody that you dislike, somebody that you think is an idiot, or you think is low status, or bad in any way, the way that we can judge people. We can judge people by their looks, we can judge people by their habits and their hygiene, we can judge people by socio-economic group, gender, all kinds of things, race, and this is what people do. I'm not condoning racism and that kind of thing, but people judge by all kinds of things. So what happens is if an ex that somebody a partner's ex that somebody becomes aware of is seen as low value for whatever reason, then the way that the retroactive jealousy mind works is It can go one of two ways. It can be, oh well, I haven't got anything to be threatened by that person, but in many cases it's well, if he or she liked them, and they're telling me that I'm special and I'm wonderful, and but they also went out with that piece of whatever, then what they're saying about me being special can't be correct. You know, so in other words, if you, this is where I could do with a snappy analogy, really, but it's kind of saying that it's a bit like going to a restaurant and saying that it's wonderful and giving it really high praise. And then you tell the restaurant owner afterwards that your other favourite is McDonald's. So it would then invalidate they would then doubt your judgment, because they think, well, if you think McDonald's is the best restaurant ever, then your praise of my restaurant is obviously not well founded. Not very eloquent example, I'm afraid. My mojo is there, but it's not burning. But I wanted to make this video before I forgot what was in the plot of the episode. So there's lots of other things I could take out of there, but that was the main one about the fact that with retroactive jealousy, often the issue is with not necessarily a partner that you see as superior, but a partner that you see as inferior. So that's a big point I wanted to make. And then the other point, and then we'll finish, is that the way that this technology in the episode works is that there's an implant behind somebody's ear, and that's where all the memories are stored, and you can obviously access them through a wireless kind of device. And at the end of the story, the guy quite violently cuts and gouges this out, which is quite a nasty thing to watch, really. You see him use a razor blade and things like that. That's the one of the things I gave the trigger warning for. He removed the thing because he'd actually demanded that his partner show him her memories of him having sex with this guy. So he's now seen video footage of her having sex with this guy. And also he's done some really bad things as well. So, he's got some memories he wants to get rid of. So he actually cuts this thing out and gets rid of it. So this, felt very much like an allegory to mental movies. That sometimes with retroactive jealousy, people maybe sometimes they're asking too many questions, or just part of the obsessive process, start to have very vivid, what we call mental movies going on in their heads about their partner's past. There's usually sex, can be other things. Excuse me. And the fact that it's extremely painful and kind of grisly process to remove this implant. I'm sure a lot of people with retroactive jealousy who are suffering with mental movies would be driven to do the same thing to get rid of these mental movies. There's an incredibly easy way of getting rid of it. It works, in my experience, 99% of the time. In fact, when I say that, I've never known it not to work when I've used it with somebody. There's a technique called the movie director technique, which all our therapists are trained in, which will painlessly help you remove mental movies. It doesn't take away the memory, because once you could always recall the memory of your mental movie if you wanted to, but what it does is it stops them playing over and over in your head, and works very effectively at that. And if for any reason they were to come back, you can just repeat the process. And if it doesn't work first time, it'll work after a few applications. Probably on the second. So that's something that if you have therapy with any of our team, we can do with you. We can talk you through that technique. but we've also made it available on as a low-cost option. So if you're interested in that, let me know. So for as little as an American dollar, you can access that. We found a way for you to just access that technique as a self-help technique. So you can access a video that explains how to do it and talks you through it. So let me know and we can give you details of that. You also, if you do access that, as well as getting that for your American dollar, you get a whole bunch of other stuff as well. So it's quite a nice, quite a helpful option, really. Check out the video on all the services that we offer, including the free ones. We do a whole bunch of free stuff, put lots of free information out there. And we've got a whole recovery and a whole lot of video online recovery program of 35 days, daily RJ actions, RJ treatment, self-help actions. So there's a whole bunch of things. So don't feel like you've got to gouge things out of your brain violently, because you haven't. There's more comfortable ways of doing it, and RJ is totally treatable if you do the right things, which we talk about in some of our other videos. Now, I would love to know what your thoughts are on this episode, and better have a bit of a discussion about that. Now, if you do watch it and you want to join in this discussion, please comment on the YouTube video, so rather than on the platform where I post this. So I may post this onto Facebook Retroactive Jealousy groups, or I may share a link to it on Reddit, for example. Now, you by all means you can comment on those platforms, but what that means is all the comments will be in all different places and not everyone will see them. So if you're able to comment underneath this video in the comment section for YouTube, then we can all join the party. Now, you can't comment on YouTube unless you join and become a member, and that's easy peasy. Takes minutes. You have to have a Gmail email account, but you can just open one, and you can forget about it. Just use it to access the YouTube, and that means you can like things. It means you can create a watch list and all kinds of stuff like that, and it's a good way to support the channel, which I suppose segue nicely into my call to action bit at the end, which is our mission is to we run a business. We provide therapy that helps us pay the bills, but our mission is to get help and information out to all over the world to people that have got RJ who are suffering without knowing what it is and without knowing that it can be treated. And we want to get that message out to everyone, regardless of whether they come to us for services. We want to get that message out to people and get help out to people so that people can find their own ways of getting into recovery. And we provide a recovery program that's completely free as well. That's all on YouTube. But we also do therapy, which can be absolutely invaluable, especially because retroactive jealousy often it's like a tip of an iceberg. So when people come to therapy, they start off by talking about the retroactive jealousy, and then they remain in therapy talking about and working with other things. So often, childhood traumas and other conditions that run alongside the retroactive jealousy. There's usually something else going on. People are often kind of almost grateful that the RJ has led them into the therapy, because they've been able to get help for the first time with some things that they never thought to go to therapy for. So what am I trying to say? So what would help us in our mission to get the message out there to people, I'm not talking about therapy particularly here, is to watch the video all the way through, and hit the like button and subscribe and leave us a nice comment, and perhaps share the video if you're able to, if you have a platform from which to do that. The reason why we ask you to do all that is the more people do that, the more YouTube show the video to more people. So because I'm quite a small channel at the moment, if somebody in Timbuktu Googles retroactive jealousy, this channel might not even come up. This video, for example, wouldn't come up. But the more you do stuff like that, the more it tells YouTube that people like this channel's helpful and doing something useful, and the more they show the videos to people. So that's why we ask you to do that. So I'm very grateful to you for that. Thank you for watching, and I will be back in the next one. Rangimarie.